Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of PD and PDubs Unscripted. And I got this guest with me here that it's been a little bit since he's been on the podcast.
Yeah, how about it? Huh? I don't know. I went away for a while, and now I'm back.
Yeah, so we got PDubs back here in the podcast, and it's good having some guests in there, but it doesn't replace you, even though one was vying for your spot if you listen.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to have some talks later on,
right?
But hey, if he gets more draws, bring him into the studio.
Well, like I said, we had, for the most part, we kept it being a Cubs fan and a Seinfeld fan.
Mm-hmm. So this is good.
It wasn't until the last day when my friend Peter joined that we had a Sox fan joining me. But yeah, it was hopefully had a good time on vacation.
Yeah, it was good. Had a good time away with family, and so good to be back. And some things never change. PD is like if you're watching closely, you may notice the last two podcasts by video and today. I seem to be wearing only one shirt, and I just want it to be known I do have more than one shirt. And I don't know, was subconsciously if I think, I must wear my blue shirt with on Tuesdays.
That's your Tuesday shirt.
It must be my podcast day shirt or whatever. So
well, sometimes it's Thursday when we record.
Yeah, right. So maybe it's just linked subconsciously to the podcast. So.
Right. But I wonder if any of our listeners that watchers, I guess, if it's on YouTube, notice that it's the same shirt.
I know. It was like once you said, hey, you want to do a podcast today? I thought, I think I've wore this shirt every time we've done the video one.
I'm surprised you didn't maybe go to the store when you were out visiting.
Well, maybe I should have. Yeah. But yes, I do have more than one shirt in my closet. You can ask my wife. She's like, you have way too many shirts. And she's right.
But do you ever think that on like Sunday or Saturday, like, did I wear this shirt last week for worship?
Yes.
And
I do.
And
then I sit there and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to go for it.
Right.
Kind of thing, so
I always kind of feel if I can't remember, nobody else is going to remember.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to do it.
But you still have that kind of.
There'll be somebody out there who will pick up on it, I think. So, so here I am with my blue shirt and having a great day. So
yeah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes, it is, neighbor.
And
be mine.
It's going to get a little toasty. So the day you listen to this, if you listen on Wednesday, it's supposed to be a little warm outside.
Yeah. So I can't think of a better thing to do on a scalding hot Wednesday than to be inside in your air conditioner and listening to PD and PDubs Unscripted.
Right. That sounds like a great way to start your day. I'll have to make sure we get out there early to walk the dog tomorrow because I don't like walking when it's really hot outside.
Yeah, with Madison's coat, I know she's kind of a combination of
black and brown.
Yeah, does the heat really nail her?
If it does, she doesn't like show it. We have the standard kind of walk, about 2 miles to walk. We go maybe a little over 2 miles. But when we get home, usually it's just like laying like dead on the floor.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a long walk for a dog,
right?
And for a pastor.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. That's great.
Just trying,
Getting up early with the chickens and
the dog. More I get up early with the dog.
Yeah.
Because if I had to stay, it would be later than 6 o'clock. But that's about the most I can push it with Madison. 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Our black lab Barkley, he just gets pounded by the heat, because of his coat and. Even like yesterday, it was getting warmer. It was like probably mid-80s by the time we took the dogs for a walk. But we were in kind of a shady foresty area, but there wasn't much of a breeze, and we weren't really walking fast or anything like that. And we got done, and we didn't go very long either. He was just like spent. He's just like laying down. We got under this shelter, and there's a concrete floor, and so it's got to be cooler, right? So he just laid down there, tongue hanging out, and then we always bring a lot of water.
Okay, I was gonna say you must have some portable water.
Yeah, we bring that, and as soon as we get them back to the van, they are both like lapping it up at the same time. So, but he really just gets pounded. I even noticed, like, even like on a day where it's 75 and sunny, if the sun is kind of baking, you can feel it on his coat. He gets a little warm.
Yeah, I've noticed that sometimes, especially like Madison, now when she's out there doing her business outside, sometimes I'm like, we're a little warmer.
Yeah.
But I always think, too, about like their pads on that concrete or that's got to be hot.
Ooh, man. Yeah, especially asphalt.
Right.
That's super hot for them. And, we should get our dogs a little
Little booties.
shoes or booties. But I always laugh at those pictures or the videos where people do that, and the dogs don't know what to do. They're
Right.
freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could get one on Madison. Like, she doesn't like to be brushed. Like, as soon as she sees me walking through with the brush, she'll like run away.
Yeah.
Like the other day, she was laying in my bed. I'm like, perfect. So I'm gonna brush you because like your hair, you're shedding a lot.
Yeah.
That's gonna make you feel more
Feel
comfortable.
better. Yeah.
And I got like one swipe, and she's like looking all around, and I'm like trying to hold her collar so she stays still.
Mhm.
As soon as I let go of the collar, boom, she's off the bed. I'm just
I'm
like,
out of here. Yeah.
I'm trying to help you, dog.
That's the way Bailey is. She's very particular, and if you start holding her collar, she'll think either, "Oh, here he's coming with the scissors," because sometimes she's get these matted
Mm.
hair things behind her ears, and of all places, trying to get behind a dog's ears who's already jumpy, man, that's not a recipe for success.
Right.
But she gets a little sketchy. Like if you're holding that collar, she's like, "Oh, nothing good's happening when you hold my collar,"
Yeah,
So
'cause today we had twice on the walk, which normally doesn't happen, but where her leash got like underneath her arm,
yep.
her front legs. I'm just
Mhm.
like, okay, let's stop. Like, that's gotta be uncomfortable. As soon as I noticed it, I'm like, okay, let me pick up your leg. First time she was fine, second time I'm like, oh, it's a little stiffer here. I'm like, I'm trying to help you out here.
Yeah, that happens to me too. With the two lately, we've been going to places where there's a lot of trees or signs or things. Invariably they will take different paths around a tree or a post or whatever, and I'm like trying to like pass the leashes and
See, this is why we have the video podcast now, so people can see all the hand motions.
gyrations. And then, yesterday, one tree, Barkley goes around one tree and he comes back and he goes, the wrong way, and then he does another loop-de-loop. At the same time, Bailey goes the other side of the tree and does a loop-de-loop around there. So now they're both wrapped around this tree in different ways, So I'm like, this is a mess. What of this?
What of that?
These dogs, don't they know which way to go around a tree?
Ah,
I'm failing as a
we need to
trainer.
teach them the rules of the road. Because that was a tongue twister there for me.
Right.
I'll go back to when you're 16, getting that little book for 15, figuring out how to drive on those roads.
Yes, yeah, and I remember all the diagrams of the signs and everything. But I guess we didn't come to talk about dogs and going around trees or driving, but we're thinking about kicking around like first day of school. It's in everywhere. All the kids are going back to school.
Not everywhere. Like,
Okay.
it was interesting because I was looking at one of my friend's Instagram stories the other day, and they're out. He's out in like New York, and one of our other close friends from seminary, he's in the Bronx, so they partner with doing stuff together. They're doing BBS this week, so I don't think New York school starts till after Labor Day.
Oh, that would be stellar.
But I don't know. But then you go after Memorial Day.
Well, it used to be back in the day, Pastor, long before you were born, that you'd start on after Labor Day and you'd be done by Memorial Day.
Okay, I can deal with that.
And that was a summer vacation, because you had all of June, all of July, all of August, and somebody came along and just felt that we needed to do, get things done quicker. So I don't know.
But yeah, so out in the East Coast, they still haven't started school yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, man, I couldn't imagine doing BBS like August 22nd.
Oh, yeah, no way.
That just sounds so late.
Too late. And well, I noticed my back in Fort Wayne, the school that my kids went to, they started the first week of August.
What?
I'm like, what is going on? What are you people doing? That's too soon.
Well, I don't have some time off.
Yeah, and then I saw, I think my cousin who lives in Tennessee, they started the first week of August. So I'm like, what in the world is happening?
I think next year we need to start school the first week of August.
No, sir. No.
Well, it was my favorite. Like, it happened this year. One of the kids was like Snapchatting me, and I was responding in the church my office. I'm like, what are you doing at the church or at the school? I'm like, I work
here.
Yeah. They're like, but it's summer. I was like, I don't have summer break. But it's always interesting when like the school kids think like, oh, you're off in the summer, off when we're on spring break.
Yeah.
Like, not unless they take vacation time.
Exactly.
But it's just so funny to me. It's like, well, the school's not in session. Why
Yeah.
would you be
Why
there?
would you be there?
Because the devil doesn't take vacation.
Did you do something wrong? You know,
This is what happens when you really misbehave at school. Instead of because at Cary Grove where I went to high school, we had Saturday detentions.
ooh,
I
kind
never
of like Breakfast Club, huh?
breakfast club. I mean, I never got one, but they would have.
Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet.
No,
Come on, time to tell the truth.
I never had a detention in my life.
Wow.
I think once or twice maybe I had to write my name on the board in elementary school, but other than that,
Uh-huh.
so either I'm really good or I just know how to get away and not get caught doing things that I shouldn't have been doing.
Wow. Well, you know, that you're people must have known then that you were pastor material.
Right, and they're like, oh, we can't mess with him. But yeah, we had Saturday detention, so now I guess I'm in summer detention.
Yeah, apparently so. So yeah, I only got detention once, and it was here at Immanuel. And yeah.
And they still let you be pastor after a
They
detention?
did. I don't know. I think they expunged it from my record or
Oh,
something.
because I did not see that.
Made it public.
I did not see that on your PIF or your
No.
set form.
No, I conveniently left that out.
Hmm.
So I don't even know what it was for, but I think it was one afternoon. I had to stay after school, and I think I had to pick up stuff in the parking lot, like trash or.
You didn't write
sticks.
on the chalkboard.
Oh, I had to do that. I was when I was giving the tour to the class of '73, we're in the 8th grade class, and I'm like, oh, here's that place where the chalkboard was where I had to write 100 times, I will not talk in class. And
Wait, you talk? No, I can't imagine you being talking in class.
I was a shy guy. I was shy. I didn't talk much, but apparently I was talking too much or disrupting.
Not. Yeah. You would never do that, especially during a sermon.
No, not at all. I mean, who would think of that? Who would interrupt a pastor mid-sermon?
I don't know. It takes a gutsy person to do that.
And then you think, maybe another bold move would be to get the congregation to do some movement or gyration, like the wave or something.
What of this and what of that?
Who would do such a thing?
I don't know. I need to look into this now. Who would do such a thing?
Yeah. So starting school is an exciting time, and a lot of times, with Facebook, you see a lot of first day pictures, either out front on the front step or at the school doors, or a sign. For us, we have a sign for our school. And that's traditional.
And there's also the sign they put up in the parkways that say "Welcome back," which seems to be a newer thing now. People putting those types of signs up in yards for birthdays.
Yeah. But I don't remember ever growing up where my mom took a picture of me going to the first day of school. If she did, it wasn't done every year. Maybe my first day of kindergarten. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I feel there was a first day of school picture.
Yeah.
That we'd always have.
But it's a lot of people do it now, and then it is a good thing because for parents and kids, over the years, you see how the child has grown and changed. And
because especially now the big thing is those signs that will say what grade, their teacher, all that. And I know I saw somebody post some police department saying, hey, be careful about what information you post on there, because you're giving anybody that can see your Facebook, knowing what teacher they're in, what school, what grade.
That's good advice.
So I was like, yeah, never really thought about that.
Yeah, you think something as joyful and innocent as that, somebody would use in a bad way,
But so that was one of the, but yeah, that seems, because I know we saw some parents with those signs at our school on that first day when we were greeting the kiddos coming in on last Wednesday. And
there was a sense of really some happiness and joy for the students and the teachers. I mean, I saw one group of second grade boys, they were all huddled together, arms around each other's shoulders, and they were just all chattering, talking at the same time, and they were just so happy to see each other. And that kind of took me back, reuniting with old buddies, that maybe, I don't know at that age, how much they get together during the summer.
How close they live to one another, because it's not like a public school here where we do have people traveling from further distances. And so it's not where I went to public school, we all lived
pretty close
in the town.
Yeah.
But see, the thing I remember always on the first day of not even first day of school, but summertime, getting closer to the school you're starting, but the class list being posted on the door outside of the classroom,
Okay.
on the outside of the building. And because like when I was in school, we had about, because I think my eighth grade class was like 75 or something. So we had about 3 classes per grade. But I remember going to like whatever classroom, third grade was either like Mrs. Langston or something like that. Mrs. Longley. No, that was first grade, I think, but something with an L, I think. I can't remember. Mrs. Hayden and then Mrs. Patterson. But going to where their rooms were because it was all the outside entrances to each room,
Gotcha.
and then seeing the class list, like, is this the class I'm in? And then looking to see who was in
your class.
Right.
Yeah, I guess at Immanuel, when I went to Immanuel, we weren't big enough to have two classrooms for the same grade. So we never had the class list thing. But yeah, it was always kind of cool. Sometimes, invariably one year over another, there might be a new student that came, or maybe someone left, or that kind of thing. And so, yeah, it was just kind of cool getting to know the new student and reuniting with old friends. I mean, back in my time, I would get together every now and again, mostly birthday parties. That was the time any kid who had a birthday party in the summer, you'd invite the class over. But I don't think I got together with a whole lot of my classmates over the summer for one reason or another. I don't know, maybe one or two. So it's kind of cool to get reunited.
Right, and that's what you see, and I think about like, people putting that emphasis on what's going to be the first day of school outfit, first day's outfits.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And always like if you took the bus, like, okay, do I got a good bus driver? And am I at the beginning of the route, or am I at the end? And that didn't guarantee, like, if you were at the last one picked up going in, didn't mean that you were going to be the first one dropped off back home. So, always learning that bus route and like who's on your bus, because we would combine with St. Teresa Catholic school in town. And so there'd be people on the bus that we knew and people on the bus that we didn't know. And back then, and I don't know if Immanuel does it anymore, we would go to St. Teresa and then jump on another bus, which was called a shuttle bus. It's just another bus, and they would take all the Immanuel kids over to.
So instead of having like 3 or 4 buses, I think in the past we've done that.
We've had that in the past, not too long ago. Right.
And see, I guess I had a different experience because my elementary school, K through 5th, was right behind my parents' house. Like you kind of know where my parents are.
Exactly.
So all I had to do to get to K through 5th grade was walk down the hill. Now I was on our school's campus, and you probably like, great, like 5th grade was on the backside by the baseball fields there. Then along that side where they once had trailers was like 4th grade, and 3rd, and then 3rd, and 1st grade was kind of kindergarten by the parking lot. Or 2nd, because 1st grade is also kind of facing where my parents live.
Okay.
Then it wasn't until middle school when I actually 4th and 5th grade I had to take the bus because I was in band, and band was at our middle school in the morning before school. So I had to get on the bus, go to the middle school on the other side of town, which isn't Foster Girls, not that big.
Yeah.
Like it's across town. But you had to cross the train tracks, and then they bus us back to the elementary school. But see, like, and I guess that was what's different for me. We had 3 bus routes for Foxtrot Grove for like junior high, and they were all like the same bus driver. I had the same bus driver all 3 years in middle school.
Yeah.
So I knew who it was, and I knew which bus was mine. It was the same route every year, same kind of kids, just kids in my neighborhood. But what I would do is I would just watch. We were the first stop. I would watch, like, oh, that's my bus backing out. I better go head to the bus stop.
Yeah.
Because
you had that vantage point.
Right. I'm like, then have to be like, oh, the Santa, when's the bus going to come?
Yeah.
And every once in a while, you might want to get out there earlier, talk to the neighbors, be like, hey, did you watch The Simpsons last night on a Monday? Because I think we even kind of adjusted where the bus stop was. So it was on like Alec and Derek, who were a year ahead of me, a year behind me in school, and their driveways where we lined up always for the bus stop. And so those were 2 of my best friends growing up because they were right around the same age. So we played a lot of little baseball together in the court and basketball. But yeah, so I was watching that bus back out. I'm like, okay, time to head over.
Yeah.
Got to cross the street.
Yeah. I think I had a similar thing. I don't know if it was in high school But my bus, I could see it out the back porch onto Euclid Avenue, and I knew that it was headed toward my neighborhood. So I knew that, okay, and I don't know how I knew it was my bus. Maybe just the time
Mhm.
must have been. And so, I'd be in the kitchen kind of looking out the back window. Oh, there goes my bus. Okay, I got maybe 2, 3 minutes before I got to get out there.
Right.
And so it's funny how you figure out timing of things,
Right.
when you have to be at your bus stop.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, when it rained, I was dumb. I didn't have an umbrella, or I didn't want one. And so there was at our bus stop was at the end of our street, and so we'd go to the last house. And if it rained, we would all stand up against their garage and kind of be under the overhang of the garage, waiting for the rain to stop and like
Was it
run out to our bus.
was it somebody that you knew?
Well, yeah, we knew them,
But
and
they didn't have any kids?
they didn't have any kids, and so I think, well, at a time they did have kids, but then they moved. They were my good friends, Vince and Joe, and they had a brother Nick, and but then they moved, and so we would just quietly stand under the awning of their garage, and they never said anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I said, at least when we had it was like friends and they were on the same bus and they didn't care.
yeah, so it was interesting the things you remember, but
Yeah, I never took the bus in high school in the morning because my mom worked down the road from Cary Grove, and
mhm.
so she would just drop me off every morning. But I would take the bus home, and that was an interesting experience, the bus ride home.
Mm,
Like, there's a lot of stuff being thrown out the windows.
yeah,
I think one of my brothers, like, people would smoke on the bus, like,
yeah, yeah,
and the bus, like, we had like the most laid back bus drivers, like, guys, as long as I don't get in trouble, I don't care what you do, this kind of his mentality.
yeah,
But it was made no sense. I got why they did it, but like, so you know where Cary Grove is, you
yeah.
know generally where I live, but they would take us all the way down Route 14, Northwest Highway, past Foster Grove, past Plum Tree, and then we turn back on that next set of train tracks and come up to like Ridge Road
Oh,
and loop back that
that's
way. I
weird.
think they thought it was like a safer route for the
Maybe.
trains or something, but it was
Yeah.
just like it was so out of the way when you're going past the Grove and not
Right.
turning it on the Lincoln or Algonquin
Yes.
tracks.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it was nice because we were the first stop then. But it's like, okay, I'm driving all
A
this
little
way,
extra.
a little extra, so maybe it's not so good being
Yeah,
the
can you
first.
just drop me off at the light? I'll
Yeah,
walk the rest of
I'll
the way.
walk.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was really my only bus riding. That was just for my freshman and sophomore year in high school because then junior year I had my license so I could drive.
It's funny, my next closest sibling is my brother, who was 8 years older than me. He had the same high school or I had the same high school bus driver as he did. There was this lady who always had trouble shifting gears, and, like, the bus would just shake when she was downshifting, and, like, oh, man, because like, my freshman year, he asked, "Do you have this lady?" And he described her, and I'm like, "Yes, I do." He goes, "Does the bus shake a lot?" And does she, like, really hit the brakes hard? I go, "Yes, she does." She goes, "That's the same lady. She's been doing it for years." So I don't know. She kept her job, but she had a hard time shifting gears on those things. And like, how those were not easy gear shifts. Well, now they're probably all automatic, right?
Right.
And like, she would shift gears and gears. And she's like, ramming the gear together. Oh man.
Did not have anything like that on our bus. Like I do remember, and like I don't know if it was kind of I don't know if it was kind of nice, but we did have radios, so you could listen to the radio driving home. But like that day and age, and still probably to say, it was more rap and R&B. So like it was always on like B96. I'm just like, oh come on, can't we play like Q101 or
Right,
something good, a good radio station, and get all this rap coming?
right. Yeah, I had one bus driver who had the radio going, and I enjoyed that too. But yeah, good old bus. And like in grade school, when I was playing the trombone, carrying a trombone on the bus, nobody wants to sit next to you with a trombone. And like, there's by the time I got on the bus, there weren't too many empty seats, so I'd have to like finagle my way in the seat, put the trombone in between my legs, and it was everybody's at a race to get out of the bus. I'm trying to like maneuver this big honking trombone case Yeah, I was not, people weren't happy to sit with me.
Thankfully, the trumpet case wasn't that big. But once we got to middle school, we just kept him on campus or at the school, unless we were planning to go home and practice. And like I was gonna take it home to practice. Come on now.
I know.
But did you guys have like? Cause this was our like in middle school. The sixth graders sat in the front part of the bus.
Oh yeah, there were sections.
Seventh graders in the middle, eighth graders in the back, and it was always that like, gotta get that back, and like that was a great thing being the first stop.
Yeah,
I could always get that last row.
yeah.
But there was another eighth grader, Erin, who was obviously my grade at our bus stop. She would usually take the one-seater, so I'd be stuck in the two-seater one.
Yeah,
but at least I had that last row all eighth grade.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would try and sit in the front so I could get out quick. But then there was a point, it was like all the cool kids or the tough kids were in the back, and like, I'm like, I'm gonna try and go to the back, see if I'm accepted or rejected. Like, so you kind of go in stages, and then like, it's like, well, what are you doing back here?
Well, I mean, you are a tough guy. I've seen that leather jacket of yours.
Yeah. Tough guy. Yeah, it was all just it was a facade.
Did you have that leather jacket back in those days?
Oh, I had a Fonzie jacket. Oh yeah.
How could they not let you in the
They
back?
not let me. I'd have my white T-shirt on and sitting with the burnouts.
Did you have the gum that was like a cigarette pack in your sleeve?
Yeah. Oh,
like,
man.
Watch this, and you fall in a stick of bubble gum.
I just blow on it, and all this white smoke comes out because it's like chewing gum, bubble gum.
It's like chalk.
Cigarette. Yeah. No, there was a time where I was testing the limits there, but speaking of the back of the bus, so like this was in high school. I think I was a junior, and like I can't remember if all of the teams. I think maybe like the sophomores and the varsity traveled together in baseball, and so I think I was a sophomore. So all the upperclassmen were in the back. Well, there's things going on in the back, and like there's these like canisters of things, and you open it up, and it looks like coffee grounds, and they're putting it in their mouth, doing a little dipping of chewing tobacco, and then there's guys back there. Oh yeah, you ought to come back here and chew. You ought to come back here and chew, and I'm like, oh, leave me alone.
I'll chew some big league chew.
Yeah, I'll chew some bubble gum. Well, I got invited to the back of the bus, and they're like, "Hey, you want some?" I'm like, "No. Well, you gotta see. Come on." And it was Copenhagen. Ugh. It was awful. And they're like, "Here, Shilfie has some." So, all right, if I'm gonna be accepted, I'm succumbing to peer pressure.
Oh, I shouldn't do that.
So, they showed me how to do it, and I got in my mouth like this, and I'm just sitting there. And all the saliva is building up, and they're like, "Don't swallow it, don't swallow it." And they're like, "Give him a cup." And it was the worst thing. It's like all over the place. The bad experience. And all of a sudden, one of the guys goes, "Oh, look at it, it's hitting him. It's hitting him." I go, "What do you mean? I'm fine. I'm fine." "Oh, we can see you're looking bad." And I shook my head. I said, "No, I'm fine." Well, all of a sudden, I got real woozy, and I'm like, "Ooh, boy, my stomach got really bad." And I'm like, "I'm gonna get sick. So I took that stuff out of my mouth, threw it in the cup. I'm like, "Somebody give me water, give me water, give me water." I'm drinking water. I made it. PD, I didn't think I was gonna make it back to Friend without like losing my lunch.
Oh,
it was a nightmare. And I'm like, I am never having Copenhagen again, or chewing,
right.
But, bad experience. So I went right to the locker room and
cleaned up.
Care of things. So yeah, oh boy, peer pressure in school and on the bus. Crazy things happen on a bus.
Yeah, like I said, we had some crazy stuff on our bus, and like I want to say our bus driver's name was like John. Like I remember hearing this because I think I was sick the day it happened, but there was like a fight at my bus stop, and he dropped him off. He started to pull away, and then he just stopped and like watched the fight and didn't even like break it up.
Oh my goodness!
It's like, John, wait a minute. Maybe you're a little too nice, I think, buddy.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy.
Well, one of the times at St. Teresa, somebody called my name and from outside, and I pulled down the window. I hated those windows. You got to push in and pull down. And I stuck my head out. I'm like, what? And the guy threw a chocolate chip cookie and it right in my eyeball.
Chocolate chip
A chocolate chip cookie, bang, right in my eyeball. And I'm like, what in the world? And like all the crumbs of the cookie.
What'd you do to him?
I don't know. But I was like,
Do you ever find out the person's name?
I don't remember it. I don't. I think I identified him, and I think he got in trouble. And I don't know. Must have been a kid I played ball with. I don't even remember.
But the fact that you knew your name and like called me out.
He called me out, and I said, what? And my eyes were wide open, and man, he chucked it. And I had to immediately go to the nurse's office. And I was in there for a while. I think I made it through school. I toughed it out.
Because you're a tough guy. But like, I remember at those windows, you could only look from so low. They had a little like
a line.
Don't go below this line.
And boy, if you went below the line, and there were some tough guys who would go below the line. But yeah, I think that lady. Yeah, she didn't allow anything below the line. She was always monitoring the line on the window wing.
And then I remember like then, which I don't think would have been on the buses you went on as a kid, when they started to get the emergency exits on the top. Where you could push them up and have air
something like that. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Do you remember the seat that was over the back wheels?
Yes, it wasn't comfortable because you didn't have you couldn't put your feet fully on the ground because of that. The wheel well.
Yeah. But we would have kids who would want to sit back there, and when they go over bumps, especially the speed bumps, they would like launch themselves out of the seat and see if they could hit their head on the ceiling. And so that was a lot of fun.
That's a jump.
Yeah, I think they kind of exaggerated. Yeah. So fun on the bus.
But yeah, I also think too, like first day of school, more probably college and seminary, like the stress that I would feel that first day of school, like, here's your syllabus. I'd be like, how am I going to get this all done?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to have any social life. I'm just going to sit in my dorm room and just sit and do homework all day long once I'm not in class. So yeah, that was my nervousness.
Or knowing where to go, like you said, in high school, which room to go to. What I would always freak out about is I'm going to forget my locker combination, and they would write it on that little syllabus thing or the schedule. And man, I would have nightmares about it. Oh, I forgot where my locker is, what's my locker combo, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm trying to think, did I have the same locker combo every year? I had the same lock. I just brought it home after the end of the school year.
Okay.
And brought it in well, that's something last week when I was at my parents' for my dad's birthday. We were talking with my niece, who's a sophomore in high school now, and we were talking about something in school and different things. And we're like, why do you guys get there that early? And blah, 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 blah. And we're like, why do you do that long before school? And then my one sister who also went to Carrick was like, yeah, do you sit on senior bench? And my niece was like, what are you talking about, senior bench? I mean, I don't know if this is just a Carrick Grove thing, but we had one long bench in the senior hallway.
Okay.
That was senior bench. Only seniors could sit on that.
Oh, wow.
So that was a tradition. I don't know if you've ever been in Carrick Grove. But yeah, we walk in the main entrance, at least when I was there, you walk kind of toward the cafeterias and you make a left in that first hallway. That was senior hallway.
Okay.
So not everybody had lockers in there. I did go ways without back. But yeah, you go sit down there when you're there before school, or since we had open campus for lunch, you got back from lunch, go sit on senior bench until it's time to go to your next class, or just in between. But yeah, nobody else could sit on that bench.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we're kind of talking about things that we would worry about or be concerned about. And here at Immanuel, every year we come with a class scripture verse, or not just a class, but the scripture verse for the year for everyone. And this year is Matthew 6, verse 34, and it talks about don't worry. Yeah, so let's see if I can call that one up real quick. It says, Jesus says, therefore don't be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. And so, we had opening chapel at Immanuel on that first day, and we had a little fun with that. doing a little skit and about worrying and not worrying and stuff. So yeah, so Jesus is just telling us, hey, there's enough in the day that you're living right now to worry. Don't mount your worries up about what is in the future.
Right. I just love that part of Matthew and the Gospel Sermon on the Mount. Like this in that same section, he's like, "Who of you can add an hour to your life by worry?"
Yeah,
That's something I try to remember because I know my worry, and when I stress out, I'm like, I'm not adding an hour to my life. If anything, I'm probably taking away because I'm like not getting the rest I need and taking care of myself the way I should. So I'm like, I'm just shortening the general lifespan most likely instead of adding. And it's like, tomorrow's gonna come. And God's gonna get me through. He's got me through this far in my life.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I always try and remember is like, and I think I got it. I thought a lot more about it in seminary. Like, that whole like, boy, I hope I do well academically in seminary. What if this doesn't work out? I've made this big leap, and I just kept thinking, well, the Lord got me to today, and think of all the hard things that were in the past. Why would he stop getting me through?
Yeah, I understand that works. That was my mind going into college. I was like, okay, I want to be a pastor. You can't major in pastoral theology, a pastor, at least in RF. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta be smart enough to get through the Greek and Hebrew. I'm like,
yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I have to major in something. Let's just major in Lutheran elementary ed. So in case I don't get through the Greek and Hebrew, fallback will be a teacher.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then a year and a half into that program and at RF, I was just like, okay, I'm surviving through Greek by the skin of my teeth, making it through. And I was like, if I keep going this route, I'll have to go to college for 5 years for the student teaching and different things. So then after was going, sorry, I'm getting through this. So that's why I was like, bye-bye Lutheran elementary ed major.
Yeah.
Hello, theology major.
Well, and you made the choice that the Lord directed you to, so that's great.
Right.
And so we always kind of talk about the scripture verse for the year, and so this is a good one because I think everybody in some way, shape, or form worries about something.
Right. I think, especially kids maybe not going to school here, but I know one of our youth a little bit over Snapchat, and they started at a high school district coming from here, and they're like, I'm getting lost on my first day. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, it's a much bigger place than little Immanuel, and
But you still have that for our sixth graders, that change of moving from classroom to classroom.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, do I have time? Which
yeah,
plenty of time to move these all.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you've never done it, you're like, oh, what if I need to do this or this in between class?
Well, you're right, and they don't just put you in classrooms close by in high school, because I remember a couple times I'd have to go from one end of the building to the complete opposite, and it was like I can't remember what they would give us in passing period, 5 minutes or something like that.
Like Gary Grove.
And that there was a couple times where I remember just hauling just to get into my class without getting a tardy, because I never wanted to get a tardy.
Right. It's kind of one of those you had to strategically plan, okay, I'm going to go to my locker in this passing period.
Exactly.
Grab my books for this and this class. But nowadays, I'm like, do kids really need to go to their lockers that much? Because if they're all on iPads or Chromebooks,
maybe not.
Why do you really need to go to your locker to get your books?
Exactly. So, maybe that strategy has changed. But, those are fun things, kind of. But, you learn time management. I remember one time in my senior year, my best buddy Mike and I, we would drive in, and we would drive his little brother Jim in. And when you're seniors, we were like, I don't care if I'm late. I don't care. But this perfect attendance stuff is overrated. It would only get me a ticket to the White Sox game, which I got one year at Immanuel, and I went.
I'm surprised you're not a diehard White Sox fan because of that.
And
that was old Comiskey.
Yeah, it was. But anyway, it was my turn to drive. And I was running late. Traffic was coming. And Mike's brother, Jim, was freaking out when I picked him up. He's like, we're going to be late. I'm going to get a tardy. I'm going to get a tardy. And we're like, just relax. It's not the end of the world. We're kind of talking like seniors, and he was a freshman. Well, he got a tardy, and he was so worked up over it. And but then we're driving him home. Like, you got one tardy. No big deal. They give you I don't know how many before you really get in trouble. Right. So, was fun.
Well, see, this is I was just looking this up because I know I've read this on like Carrie Grove's Wikipedia
Yeah.
for the perfect attendance thing. It says every year before school ends, all students who have not missed more than 12 days of school and have not received any discipline referrals are invited to an invited outside to a grill out style barbecue or style party for 2 class periods. The event is accompanied by music performed by the school's jazz combo. All eligible students are given hot dogs grilled by the deans and parents as a form of reward of maintaining a good disciplinary attendance record throughout the school year. So maybe would that help you want to get that perfect?
Maybe,
get a
I mean, I like hot dogs, and I
Right.
like, getting out of class for 2 periods. So,
Right. grilled by your dean.
yeah, grilled by my dean, so, it was good. But yeah, Jim survived. He was all nervous and anxious, about, us being late. And I'm like, Jim, we're going to be right behind you, well, what do I tell him? What do I tell him? Just tell him that I got hung up on traffic, and like, he was just so shook up. And well, after that first experience, then he didn't really care much anymore. But
Yeah, it's that worry of the
yeah,
unknown.
exactly.
And so we don't have to worry because it's all in God's hand. It's known to him.
Hmm.
So what better person to trust than him?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been fun. Hopefully, those who are involved with their kiddos are off and running on their school year and had a good first day. And maybe you're a grandparent now, and you're excited to see your grandchildren go, or maybe you're just reminiscing like us.
Right.
So
Good times.
it's good times. So the school year brings back like the routine, right?
Right.
And you talk to parents, and they're like, oh yeah, we gotta get the routine going again, get the kids in bed the night before, bath, shower time, homework, and then get up. And so yeah, I do remember the routine. So I guess that's a good thing for us.
Right. So thank you everybody for listening and watching, and God's blessings.